actually sermonize their congregations against Islam, demonizing Islam the same way they were doing communism 20 years ago? Why is it that Muslims do not go to their Christian interlocutors or from Jewish interlocutor or in the group and say, as you expect us to create greater understanding and tolerance and acceptance of diversity, not only accept it but to celebrate it, which we recognize as a valid demand or valid expectations, you should be doing the same? Why is there no understanding being sort of achieved in that order, on that level?
Well,
do you reckon, first of all, do you agree that there are churches that are doing this thing?
I certainly do.
Yes.
And I think it reflects on us and how strong we are. I think sometimes we cave in and we are trying to please, and I think we need to stand up for who we are, and I think we need to stand up for the truth and enjoin what is right and forbid what is evil and wrong. We should not cave in, we should not be apologetic on our stance, and this is Islam, and this is our religion, and these are our stands. I agree with you. We, for some time, at least in the past few years, we were trying to please or trying to find a common ground so we can be accommodated. I think maybe for that time it was okay, but now it is time for us to stand up and say it the way it is. This is what Islam is all about, and we are going to deal on even keel with everybody and demand that we are treated as much as similar to what we treat others.
Well, I think the Muslim community still need to really understand the interfaith or interreligious work very well. And I think there is an effort has been made. There is a recent book actually published just last month about the interfaith dialogue written by Dr. Imam Muhammad Shafiq and Dr. Muhammad Abu Nimr. We have it's available. We can provide you with copies. So I think that is a good document as a guide to the Muslim community how to do the interfaith dialogue. Yes, there are some churches that
does also deal with why to do interfaith dialogue or only how?
It's the guide how and why and things like that to do interfaith dialogue. There are certain churches, of course, they wanted to demonize Islam. There is no doubt. And the recent book actually called Islamic Imperialism. I'm sure you heard about that book. That several thousand were sent to the churches, the priests, for free, just talking about Islam. So we as a Muslim community, we need to organize ourselves. We have to have a body that intellectually can look into this literature and come up with a document.
No, hang on.
That can be.
Hang on. Yes, that will be a response from Muslims in terms of attack on them. Mr. Professor Mahmood Mamdani, author of Good Muslim, Bad Muslim, makes a very good point. He says when you attack Islam, that speech is seen as part of free speech. When you attack other religions or when you question Holocaust, whether it happened or not, that is seen as an act of bigotry. So there are two totally different classifications, therefore two totally different public responses. So I'm not asking you how Muslims can better deal with these things. That's a separate issue and a valid one. But I'm asking you is what is the expectation from partners in dialogue when their community members attack Islam in totally unacceptable manners, as they expect from us to rein in those imams and those sermons that are seen as beyond the pale of reason and beyond the pale of mutual acceptance. Why is that we are not making the same demand of them?
I think we should. I think this is the time of truth for us and for them. Yep. I think for the last several years we were trying to dance around the issues. Right now, I think we should not being apologetic exactly the same way. When you demand of our imams to speak in a certain way, we demand of these religious figures to speak in a certain way. It goes both ways. It is not just one-way street, and we are not. To me, I think we should not be apologetic anymore. I think we should stand for our rights because these are our rights. We need to stand for it, and we need to call it for whatever it is. This is bigotry. It cuts both sides. Right. Freedom of speech. It cuts both sides.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think
last word to you.
Yeah, I think what's happened is that You remember when Jerry Falwell made a statement about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The National Council of Churches, they issued a document, they issued a statement, denouncing what happens and saying that this is wrong. And I think these kind of positions and stands are very crucial for the Muslim community, coming from the main Protestant organization, talking directly on behalf of the Muslim community is something that should be really commended.
I fully agree with you, but I don't think they were speaking on behalf of the Muslim community. They were speaking on behalf of those Christians who think these attacks are unjustified. And that's very good, but the attacks on Islam and Muslims are ongoing, not one-day basis. While I fully recognize and respect what they did, and you correctly pointed out, I think that's only a sort of drop in the bucket that needs to be recognized as a drop. We have the issue of reform in religions, an issue of need to continue to work with each other and respect each other. Every community is in need of reform and must do it. Muslims are in error in many places, but we must differentiate between Muslim states and the religion of Islam. Muslims need many corrections, and we should have the courage to recognize our mistakes, our errors, our weaknesses, our shortcomings, and find creative ways to fix them. At the same time, we should have the courage of conviction to stand up for our faith and demand dignity, respect, and understanding that we all deserve as human beings. We should be the first to challenge any oppression against any minority in the Muslim world, and we should also be the first in this country to stand up for our civil liberties, our human rights, our religious rights. This is a dialogue we'll continue with our learned friends here and elsewhere. Thank you.